Ismene. Αδερφούλα μου. Υπάρχει άραγε καμιά κατάρα από την κληρονομιά του πατέρα μας του Ιδίποδα που να μην την έστειλαν ακόμα οι θεοί στη ζωή μας. Με την ανίδα πόνο, πίκρα, ντροπή, ατιμία, τίποτα που να άλειψε από τις δικές σου και από τις δικές μου συμφορές. Τώρα τι είναι αυτό πάλι που λένε πως διακήρυξε πριν από λίγο σε όλη την πόλη ο βασιλιάς ο Κρέων? Ξέρεις τίποτα? Άκουσες ή δεν πήρες είδηση τι εχθρική πράξη ετοιμάζει για τους πολύ αγαπημένους μας νεκρούς?
Τους πολύ αγαπημένους μας? Εγώ τουλάχιστον, Αντιγόνη, δεν άκουσα ούτε καλό ούτε κακό από τη στιγμή που χάσαμε τα δύο τα αδέλφια μας. Που αλλιώς σκοτωθήκανε μέσα σε μια μέρα. Και αυτή τη νύχτα, αφού του έφυγε και χάθηκε ο στρατός του Άργους, δεν ξέρω τίποτα για να χαρώ ή να λυπηθώ παραπάνω.
Καλά το ήξερα. Γι' αυτό σε φώναξα έξω από τις πύλες, για να μ' ακούσεις μόνον εσύ.
Μα τι τρέχει? Φαίνεσαι αναστατωμένη για αυτό που θέλεις να μου πεις.
Δεν το έμαθες πως... Ο Κρέων τιμάει μεταφή τον έναν από τους δυο μας αδερφούς και τον άλλον τον ατιμάζει. Για τον Ετεοκλή σωστά λένε πως πρόσταξαν να τον θάψουν με όλες τις νεκρικές τιμές. Για το κουφάρι του αξιολύπητο του Πολυνίκη είπαν πως διαλάλησε σε όλο τον κόσμο να μην το σκεπάσουν με χώμα. Ούτε να το μυρολογήσουν. Να τα αφήσουν άταφο και άκλαυτο. Να το χαρούνε τα όρνια που τριγυρίζουν για ψοφίμη. Και όποιος τολμήσει να παρακούσει την προσταγή του θα θανατωθεί με δημόσιο λιθοβολισμό. Μάθε τα λοιπόν αυτά. Και τώρα θα δείξεις αν είσαι άξια της γενιάς σου ή αν θα την τροπιάσεις.
Δυστυχισμένη. Αν τα πράγματα φτάσανε όσα είμαι εκεί, εγώ έτσι κι αλλιώς τι μπορώ να σου κάνω παραπάνω?
Σκέψου αν θα βοηθήσεις και αν θα συνεργαστείς.
Σε τι τρέλα? Τι έβαλες στο μυαλό σου?
Να θάψουμε μαζί το νεκρό.
Αλλήμονό μας. Τώρα που απομείναμε μόνο οι δυο μας, σκέψου τι τέλος κακό θα βρούμε να ψηφίσουμε την προσταγή και την εξουσία του βασιλιά. Πρέπει να νιώσεις πως γεννηθήκαμε γυναίκες και δεν μπορούμε να τα βάζουμε με άντρες. Ο βασιλιάς είναι πιο δυνατός από εμάς. Και σκύψουμε το κεφάλι και σε αυτά και σε χειρότερα. Εμένα, ας με συγχωρέσουν οι νεκροί να αναγκάζουμε να υποταχτώ στη βία. Μα δεν θα παρακούσω αυτούς που μας εξουσιάζουν. Είναι ανόητο να κάνεις πράγματα που ξεπερνούν τη δύναμή σου.
Ούτε κι αν μπορούσα να σε προστάξω, ούτε κι αν το ήθελες ακόμα, θα νιώθα χαρά τώρα πια να έρθεις μαζί μου. Πίστευε λοιπόν ότι καταλαβαίνεις. Μα εγώ εκείνον θα πάω να τον θάψω. Και εσύ αν το νομίζεις σωστό, περιφρόνησε τα ιερά και τα όσια.
Δεν τα περιφρονώ. Μα είμαι γεννημένη αδύνατη για να τα βάλω με ολόκληρη πολιτεία.
Αυτά είναι προφάσεις.
Αλλημονό σου, δυστυχισμένη, τρέμω για σένα, ναι.
Μην νοιάζεσαι για μένα, ναι. Τη δική σου ζωή κοίταξε να εξασφαλίσεις.
Αφού το θέλεις έτσι πήγαινε. Μα ξέρω το πως είσαι τρελή. Μα αληθινή αδελφή για τον αδελφό σου.
Listen. The same blood flows in both our veins, doesn't it, my sister? The blood of Oedipus. And suffering, which was his destiny, is our punishment too, the sentence passed on all his children. Physical pain, contempt, insults, every kind of dishonor. We've seen them all and endured them all, the two of us. But there's more to come. Now. Today. Have you heard it? This new proclamation which the king has made to the whole city. Have you heard how those nearest to us are to be treated? With the contempt that we reserve for traitors, people we love.
Nobody has told me anything, Antigone. I've heard nothing, neither good nor bad, about anyone we love. Not since the battle, I mean. The terrible news that both our brothers were dead. One day, one battle, and fratricide twice over. each brother cutting down his own flesh. But the army from Argos retreated last night. I have heard that. Nothing else to cheer me up or depress me further.
I thought you hadn't. That's why I asked you to meet me here, where I can tell you everything without any risk of being overheard.
What is it then? More terrible news. Something black and frightening, I can see that.
Well, what do you think, Ismene? Perhaps you can guess. We have two brothers, both of them dead. And Creon has decreed that a decent burial shall be given to one, but not to the other. Eteocles apparently has already been buried with full military honors, not far short of a state funeral, with all the formalities due to the dead meticulously observed, so that his rest in the underworld amongst the heroes is assured. But Polynices, who died in agony just as certainly as his brother did, is not to be buried at all. The decree makes that quite plain. He is to be left, lying where he fell, with no tears or ceremonies of mourning, to stink in the open, till the kites and vultures catch the scent and tear him to pieces and pick him to the bone. Left unburied, there is no rest for him in the underworld, no more than here. What a great king our Creon is, eh, sister? It's against us, you realize, and against me in particular, that he has published this decree. And he'll soon be here himself to make it public to the senators and anyone who may not have heard it. He isn't bluffing. He means to act, to make it stick. The punishment for anyone who disobeys the order is public stoning to death. So that's the news. And you know it now. The time has come for you too to stand up and be counted with me, to show whether you are worthy of the honor of being Oedipus' daughter.
Wait a minute, Antigone. Don't be so headstrong. If all this is as you say it is, what can I do, one way or the other?
Just say you will help me. Commit yourself.
To do what? Something dangerous?
Just to give me a hand to lift the body. It's too heavy for me to move on my own.
To bury him, you mean, in spite of the decree?
He's my brother. And whatever you say, he's yours too. I won't betray him now that he's dead. No one will ever throw that in my face.
You can't do it. Creon has publicly forbidden it.
He cannot forbid me to love my brother. He has neither the right nor the power to do that.
Have you forgotten what happened to our father? Contempt and loathing from everyone, even from himself, that was his reward. And blinded, too, by his own hand. And his mother-wife, as ill-matched with him as those two words are with each other, she knotted a rope and hanged herself. And now our two brothers, both in one day, caught in the same trap, claiming blood for blood and death for death, each one at the expense of the other. We are the last ones left, sister. And what a death is promised for us, more terrible than any if we break the law by defying the king and the power of the state. Think for a moment, Antigone, please. We're women, that's all. Physically weaker and barred from any political influence. How can we fight against the institutionalized strength of the male sex? They are in power and we have to obey them, or worse tyrannies than these may be inflicted upon us. May God forgive me and the spirits of the dead. We have no choice. State power commands, and we must do as we are told. When you are powerless, wild gestures and heroic refusals are reserved for madmen.
Don't say any more. I won't ask again. In fact, if you were to offer help now, I would refuse it. Lucy, please. I intend to bury my brother. And if I die in the attempt, I shall die in the knowledge that I have acted justly, and that will be a kind of happiness. I shall lie peacefully beside my brother, whom I loved in my actions as well as in words. Our lives are short. We have too little time to waste it on men and the laws they make. The approval of the dead is everlasting. And I shall bask in it as I lie among them. Lucy, please. Live, by all means. The laws you will break are not of man's making.
I reverence them. But how can I defy the unlimited power of the state? What weapons of mine are strong enough for that?
Fine. That's a good excuse. I'll go and shovel the earth on my brother's body.
I'm frightened, Antigone. I'm frightened for you.
Don't be frightened for me. Fear for yourself.
For God's sake, keep it quiet. Don't tell anyone. I'll keep our meeting secret.
Don't you dare. You must tell everyone. Shout it in the streets. If you keep it quiet, I shall begin to hate you.
There's a fire burning in you, Antigone, but it makes me go cold just to hear you.
Well, I'm not doing it to please you.
You won't do it at all. You're bound to fail.
I shall fail when I have failed and not before.
But you know it's hopeless. Why begin when you know there's no way you can succeed?
Be quiet! Before I begin to despise you for talking so feebly. He will despise you too. Unjustly. You can go now. Go! If I'm mad, you can leave me here with my madness, which will doubtless destroy me soon enough. Death is the worst thing that can happen. And some deaths are more honorable than others.
If you've made your mind up, Antigone, it's madness. Remember, I love you. Whatever happens.
Antigone, what are you doing up at this hour? I've just been to your room.
The two of you now. You're both going mad to be up before the kitchen fires are started. Do you think that's decent for the daughters of a king? With nothing on and the sun's not up. I'll have you both on my hands with colds before I know it.
Nanny, it's not chilly, really. Summer's here. Why don't you go and make us some coffee? I'd love some coffee. It would do me so much good.
That poor baby. Now, her head's swimming because she hasn't anything in her stomach. I stand here like an idiot. I could be getting her something hot to drink.
Aren't you well?
Oh, yes. It's just that I'm a little tired. I got up too early.
I couldn't sleep either.
Oh, you shouldn't go without your beauty sleep, Ismene.
Don't make fun of me.
I'm not. Oh, truly, I'm not. This special morning, seeing how beautiful you are makes everything easier for me. What a nasty little girl I used to be, remember? I used to fling mud at you and put worms down your
Why
neck.
do you insist upon talking about other things?
I'm not talking about other things.
Antigone, I thought about it a lot.
Have you?
I thought about it all night long. Antigone, you're mad.
Am I?
We cannot do it.
Why not?
Creon will have us put to death.
Of course he will. That's what he's here for. He will do what he has to do, and we will do what we have to do. He's bound to put us to death, and we are bound to go out and bury our brother. That's the way it is. What do you think we can do to change it?
I don't want to die.
Well, I'd prefer not to die myself.
Listen to me, Antigone. I thought about it all night. I'm older than you are. I always think things through. You're so impulsive. You get a notion in your head and you jump up and do the thing straight off, whereas I think things out.
Sometimes it's better not to think too much.
I don't agree with you. Listen, I know it's horrible. I know Polynices was cheated out of his rights, that he made war, that Creon sided against him, that he was killed. And I pity Polynices just as much as you do. But all the same, I sort of see what Uncle Creon means.
I don't want to sort of see anything.
Creon is king. He has to set an example.
I am not the king, and I don't have to set people examples. Creon orders that our brother rot and putrefied and be mangled by dogs and birds of prey, and you talk about examples.
There you go, frowning, wanting your own stubborn way in everything. Listen to me. I'm right oftener than you are.
I don't want to be right.
At least you can try to understand.
Understand. First word I ever heard out of any of you was that word, understand. Now, why didn't I understand that I mustn't play with water? Cold, black, beautiful, flowing water. Because I'd spill it on the palace tiles. Or earth, Ismene, earth. Because earth dirties a little girl's frock. Understand. Only understand that there's a man rotting, unburied, and that he's my brother, and that he must be buried.
Creon won't let us bury him. He's stronger than we are, Antigone. He's the king, and the whole city is with him.
I'm not listening to you.
You must.
You know how Creon works. His mob will come running, howling as they run. 1,000 arms will seize our arms. 1,000 breaths will breathe into our faces. Like one single pair of eyes, 1,000 eyes will stare at us. We'll be driven in a tumbrel through their hatred, through the smell of them and their cruel, roaring laughter. We'll be dragged to the scaffold for torture, surrounded by guards with their idiot faces all bloated, their animal hands clean washed for the sacrifice, their beefy eyes squinting as they stare at us. And we'll know that no shrieking and no begging will make them understand that we want to live. For they're like trained beasts who go through the motions they've been taught without caring about right or wrong. And we'll suffer. We'll feel pain rising in us until it becomes so unbearable we know it must stop. But it won't stop. It'll go on rising and rising like a screaming voice. I can't. Antigone.
How well you've thought it all out.
I thought about it all night long, didn't you?
Yes.
I'm an awful coward, Antigone.
So am I. But what has that to do with it?
But Antigone, don't you want to go on living?
Go on living?
Yes.
Go on living? Who wept when she was little because there were too many grasses in the meadow, too many creatures in the field for her to know and touch them all?
Oh. Antigone, be reasonable. It's all very well for men to believe in ideas and die for them. But you're a girl. Antigone, you have everything in the world to make you happy. You're young, you're beautiful.
I'm not beautiful.
Oh, yes, you are. Well, not the way other girls are, maybe, but it's always you that the tough little boys turn and look back at when they pass us in the street.
Little boys.
And what about Haman?
I shall see Haman this morning. I'll take care of Haman. Ismene, go to bed now. The sun is coming up and there's nothing I can do today. Come on, go to bed.
What are you going to do?
Come, my doves, come to your breakfast.
If I do, promise me you won't leave the house.
All right, I promise.